They will not tell you the truth, Ibrak. They will not tell you the real reason they rise while others fall, Ibri. They will speak of luck and chance, but never of the power that shapes destiny. Abri. There is a secret known only to those who dare to dream beyond fear. Ibrika. It is not found in money or talent or connections. Ibrikshit. It is found in the unseen world within your own mind. Abraka, Napoleon Hill called it the greatest discovery of the human soul. Ibrika. The power to think and the power to believe. Ibraki. The world will try to make you doubt yourself. It will try to make you small. Abra. But inside you, there is a force and break every chain. Ike. A force that can rebuild your life from ashes. Ibrika. A force that can turn weakness into wealth and pain into power. Ibrika. This is the secret that millionaires do not want you to know, Ibriki, because once you discover it, you will never be controlled again, Hebri. Today you will awaken that power within you, Ibrike, and your journey will never be the same again. Ibrike, your mind is the greatest force you will ever possess, Ibrike. It is invisible, yet it shapes everything that you see and touch, Ibrike. It is the architect of destiny and the master of reality. Ibrar, whatever you allow to live within it, will become the world you walk in, Ibraka. Most people live as prisoners of their own thoughts. Ibrek. They wake up in doubt and they sleep in fear. Ibrek. They never learn that the mind obeys only the one who commands it with clarity and faith. Your mind is like fertile soil. Abrakla, plant fear, and it grows failure. Hibrake, plant belief, and it grows miracles. Ibrakla. Every thought you think is a seed. Hebro. Every seed grows into action. Yim. Every action creates a result. Ibrakri. And every result becomes your reality. Barkraki. That is why the greatest power on earth is not wealth or influence, but mastery over thought. Abraham Napoleon Hill studied men who built empires and shaped nations. Abriki. He found one truth repeated in every life of greatness. Hebrashi. Each of them learned to control their mind before they controlled anything else. Ibri. They did not allow circumstance to command emotion. Ibrashi. They commanded emotion to shape circumstance. They did not wait for good days to feel strong. Ibraka. They created strength within until every day became a good day. Ibri. They trained their mind like a warrior trains his sword. Ibri. They cut through fear with purpose and through confusion with decision. Ibro. Your mind listens to every word you say about yourself. Ibrich. It believes what you repeat. Ibr. If you call yourself weak, it will make you weaker. Ibrukra. If you call yourself powerful, it will find proof to make you stronger. Ibr. You are the voice your mind obeys. That voice can build or destroy. Ibryi. That voice can set you free or keep you in chains. Ibrshi. The secret that millionaires guard is not in what they do. Ibruk. It is in how they think. Ibrish. They have learned that thought is cause and they affect. Ibrokrakel. Change your thinking and you will rewrite your story. Ibrukri. There are no limits to a trained mind. Ibruki. It sees opportunity where others see failure. Ibrukiki. It sees lessons where others see loss. It finds the light even in darkness because it understands that darkness is only the absence of focus. Ibriku. The mind becomes what it constantly feeds on. Ibrahi. Eat it fear and it becomes blind. Ibrahi. Feed it faith and it becomes unstoppable. Ibrashbe. You cannot rise above the level of your dominant thought. Ibrach. So ask yourself daily, what am I feeding my mind? Ibruka. Is it faith or fear? Ibrika. Is it vision or doubt? Abraki. Because that choice decides. Everything. Ibru. Every great builder of dreams has learned the same ritual. They wake each morning and command their mind to obey their vision. They do not wait for motivation. Ibrok. They create it. Ibro. They do not wait for opportunity. Ibro. They imagine it until it appears. Ibrahi. They do not let the mind drift. Ibrahi. They harness it. Ibriki. They know that uncontrolled thought is like untamed fire. Itberki. It burns and destroys. Hebrew. But when controlled, it gives warmth, power, and kree. agreeability to direct his own mind. So begin this moment, Abraka. Close your eyes and see the life you desire. Feel it. Ibrahi, believe it. Ibraki, own it. Ibraki. Let that image dominate your inner world until it's more real than the present. Ibraya. Keep it there until the outer world bends to match it. Ibraki. That is how masters create their destiny. Ibraki. Not by luck. Ibri. Not by chance. Ibrisha. But by commanding the mind with purpose. Because what the mind accepts as truth, the world must eventually reflect. Ibrahi. Desire is the fire that gives birth to every great creation. Ibrahi. It is the spark that lights the dark path of doubt. It is the voice within that whispers there is more for you than this. Ibriya. Every great man, every builder, every dreamer began with one burning desire. Not a weak wish, not a passing thought, but an obsession so strong it consumed every fear and silenced every doubt. Ibrahi, desire is the beginning of power. Abraka, without it, nothing moves. Ibrahi, without it, no heart dares to Ibri. It is desire that calls courage from the soul and faith from the unseen. Ibraki. Napoleon Hill watched men rise from nothing to greatness, and he found that each of them carried one thing that could not be taken from them. Ibrashi. A hunger so pure that no rejection could break it, and no failure could stop it. Ibrashi. They desired success so deeply that their entire being was set on fire. Abra desire made them work when the world slept. Ibraha desire made them believe when logic said, give up. Ibrahi desire turned pain into passion and struggle into strength. Ibrahi, the poor man wishes, but the rich man decides. Ibrahi, the poor man waits, but the rich man acts. Ibrahi is the difference between hoping and knowing. Ibrahi, it gives direction to energy. Ibraka, it gives focus to faith. Ibraka, it tells the universe what you are ready to claim. When your desire becomes definite, it becomes a command to life itself. Ibrcha, it begins to shape the people, the chances, and the moments that bring your dream into form. Ibrik. Many lose their power because they allow their desire to fade. Ibrihi. They let fear water down their fire. Ibrihi. They let comfort numb their purpose. Ibrihi. But the masters guard their desire like a sacred flame. Ibrihi. They feed it with vision. Hibriki. They protect it from doubt. Briki. They remind themselves each morning why they began. Ibriki. They see what they want with such clarity that it becomes the only image their mind can hold. Ibriki. Desire has no limits when it is pure. Ibrika. It can make a man cross oceans. Ibrika. It can make a soul rebuild after every fall. Ibrasa. It can give strength to the broken and sight to the blind. Ibriki. It can create inventions that change history. Burhi. Desire is the soul's declaration that it refuses to remain small. Tibra. Every great empire started in the heart of one who refused to settle for less. Ibrihi. Desire is the divine language of creation speaking through you, saying, rise higher, become more. Ibrihi. If you want to test your power, look at your desire. If it burns, you will rise. Ibrihi. If it flickers, you will fall back into the crowd. Ibrawa. The size of your dream is not the problem. Kibroi. The weakness of your desire is at key. When you want something with all of your mind and spirit, the whole universe conspires to bring it closer. Iburki, not because of magic, but because desire directs attention, and attention directs creation. Whatever you focus on expands. Ibur, whatever you ignore fades away. Ibur, every man who has changed our life began by igniting his desire. Abriki, he saw what he wanted and refused to let it go. Ibriki, he faced every obstacle and said, I will find a way. Ibroki, he turned tears into determination and rejection into fear. Broki, he kept his vision alive until it became his reality. Desire is not emotion, it is decision. Ibrika, it is the voice of your highest self calling you forward. Ibrika, it is the key that opens every locked door. Ibrik, it is the seed of every miracle. Your desire defines the shape of your destiny. Ibrik, so choose what you want and claim it with faith and purpose. Ibrihi, do not whisper your dream. Ibrihi, declare it. Ibrihi, do not wait for the right time. Ibrihi, the right time, abrichi, because when your desire becomes unbreakable, the world has no choice but to bow to it. Ibraki, faith is the unseen bridge that connects thought to reality. Abraki, it is the invisible energy that turns the impossible, inevitable. Abraki. It is not a word, it is a force. Kibraki. It is the heartbeat of creation itself. Abra. When a man believes with absolute certainty, the universe bends to his command. Ibrahak Napoleon Hill called faith greatest power of the human spirit, Ibrahi. He said that no one can rise above the level of their belief. Ibrahi, faith is the builder of worlds. It is the power that takes what exists only in the imagination and brings it into form. Ibrari. Most people live in hope, not faith. Ibri. Hope waits for signs, while faith creates signs. Ibri, hope, asks if it is possible, while faith declares it is done. Ibraki. Faith begins where logic ends. Ibraki. It does not ask how, it only knows that it will. Ibri. The mind filled with faith is fearless. It walks through storms with calm, knowing that the path will open as it steps forward. Ibar. Every great man who has shaped history carried this invisible weapon within his soul. Ibriki, they were not stronger. They simply believed deeper. Ibriki, faith is not blind. It is visionary. Abrika. It sees what eyes cannot yet see. Abrika. It hears what ears cannot yet hear. Ibrika. It feels the outcome long before it appears. Ibriki, faith is the language of the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind never argues. Iberski. It accepts what you believe as truth and works day and night to make it real. Iberka. When you affirm, I will succeed, your faith awakens hidden strength. Iberkwa. When you repeat, I am powerful, your faith commands the unseen to move in your favor. Iberkwa. This is why millionaires walk with calm confidence. Ibri. Their outer world may shake, but their inner world stands unbroken. Ibri. The power of faith cannot be measured by sight. It grows in silence and moves mountains without sound. Ibraki. Faith feeds persistence, and persistence gives birth to miracles. Ibraksh. It is faith that makes a man rise after failure and try again with greater strength. Ibraka. It is faith that keeps a dream alive when everything around says, give up. Ibri. When you believe in something so deeply that doubt cannot enter your mind, the world must eventually align with that belief. Ibruk. This is not a wish, it is a universal law. Abersi. The world reflects your inner conviction. Ibruk. Believe in scarcity, and you will live in lack. Ibruk. Believe in abundance, and doors will open where walls once stood. Ibruk. Faith is a muscle that grows through struggle. Ibruk. Every setback is a test. Ibruk. Every delay is a challenge to see you still believe. Those who hold their faith in darkness are rewarded with light. Those who surrender it in fear remain trapped in shadows. Ibrahi. Faith does not remove struggle, it transforms it. Ibriki. It turns pain into purpose. Ibrihi. It turns waiting into preparation. Ibrihi. It turns rejection into redirection. Ibrihi. It gives meaning to everything that happens and uses all of it for growth. Ibrarsh, the man of faith, walks differently. Ibraki does not chase. He attracts Ibrasha. He does not beg. He commands Ibrasha. He does not panic when depart because he knows that something greater is forming beyond his sight. Ibraki faith makes him unshakable. Ibraki. It gives him peace in chaos and strength in loss. Ibraki. It gives him the power to stand when others kneel in defeat. Ibraki. Faith is the master key to every form of wealth. Abrichil. It is the root of courage, the seed of vision, and the breath of success. Ibraki. When you move with faith, the world feels your energy. People sense it without words. Abraki, they are drawn to. It break. Opportunities appear as if by chance. Abriki ilazai. Flow with clarity. Ibraki. Faith aligns you with the sea of creation. Sabrachiwers. It tells the universe, I am ready. Abraki. It commands the unseen forces to arrange themselves for your victory. Abricha. That is why the man who truly believes cannot be stopped. He does not for proof, because his belief is the proof. Ibersha, he does not wait for doors to open, because his faith builds new ones where none existed. Iberki, persistence is the silent power that separates the dreamers from the doers. Ibraki, it is the force that keeps a man moving when the path disappears before his eyes. Abriki, it is the strength to take one more step when every muscle screams stop. Abreyi, Napoleon Hill discovered that every great fortune, every invention, every revolution was born from the same fire called persistence. Aberhir. The world does not reward those who start strong, it rewards those who finish what they begin. Hiberkia, persistence is not talent. It is not intelligence. It is the refusal to quit when pain arrives. Brr, every man who reached greatness walked through failure so many times that most would have collapsed. Ibraka they faced rejection, betrayal, and loss. Yet they rose again and again until life itself gave up trying to break them. Ibra. Each fall was a lesson, and each lesson built endurance. Persistence is the courage to believe that every fall is part of the climb. Ibruki. It is the discipline to rise with swollen hands and a tired soul and still move forward. Ibruki. It is the ability to silence the mind, whispers it is over. Ibershushi. It is the decision to say, I will not stop until I see the vision that burns inside my heart. Ibrihi. The world tries to break persistence through time. Ibrihi. It makes the journey longer than you planned. Abraki. It makes the reward harder than you imagined. It sends delay after delay to see if you truly mean what you say. Ibrhe. Most give up when they are inches from victory. Ibrhi. They stop because the night feels endless and the weight feels too heavy. Aika. But the man who persists walks into the storm with his head high, knowing that dawn must follow. Ibrika, persistence turns weakness into armor and failure into strength. Ibershi, millionaires. Understand this truth. Hibarkri, they do not measure progress by comfort. Ibri, they measure it by resistance. Kibriki, the greater. The resistance. The closer they are to breakthrough. Iberki, persistence sharpens the soul. Abraki, it builds patience, discipline, and mental steel. Ibriki. It transforms ordinary effort into unstoppable momentum. Ibruf, the man who persists long enough becomes a force that the world cannot ignore. Ibruf. He may not win today, but he cannot lose forever, because persistence always bends time in his favor. Ibrukri. There is a moment in every struggle when the world goes silent. Ibrhi. When no one believes, when no one applauds, when no one helps. Ibrhi. That moment is where greatness is born. Ibrhi. Because persistence in silence is proof of power. Ibrstya. It is faith in action without witness. It is belief without validation. Iberwi. It is strength without audience. Those who endure that moment rise above all competition. Iberki. They become unstoppable because they no longer depend on praise or approval. They are fueled by vision alone. Iberki, Napoleon Hill saw that persistence is more valuable than genius. Iberka, genius burns bright for a moment, but persistence burns steady for a lifetime. Iberkit, it is the slow fire that forges unbreakable men. Iberk, it is the secret heartbeat of success. Iberki, when you keep moving through the storm, you learn that pain cannot destroy you. It can only polish you. Eberksha. It can only make you clearer, sharper, and more certain of who you are. Eberkra. Every no, every loss, every door that shuts teaches you that power lives not in perfection, but in persistence. There will be times when nothing seems to work. Eber times when the dream looks dead and the effort feels wasted. Ebershri. Those are not endings. They are tests. Ebri. They are the universe asking, do you really want it, Ibriki? And only the persistent can ask Ibriki. They answer not with words, but with action. Ibriki. They show up again. Ibri. They work again. Ibri. They believe again. Abro. And that single act of continuing, the turning point that changes everything. Persistence is not glamorous. Ibriki. It is sweat and repetition, an unseen struggle. Ibriki. It is long nights and empty applause. Ibriki. But it builds something no comfort. Kibriki. It builds power. Ibriki. and power earned through persistence never fear. Because once a man has walked through fire and refused to burn, he becomes something more than human Ibriki. He becomes unstoppable Ibriki. Fear is the oldest enemy of human greatness. Kibrikit hides behind hesitation, behind excuses, behind comfort. Ibrukra. It whispers quietly that you are not ready, that you are not enough, that you will fail, and most listen to that whisper and surrender before they ever begin. Key. Napoleon Hill understood that fear is the gatekeeper between mediocrity and mastery. Ibrika. It is the test that stands before every dream and asks, how much do you truly want it? Ibrikle. Millionaires feel fear the same as everyone else, but they do not bow to it. Ibrifi. They use it. Ibrif. They turn it into power. Ibrishi. Fear exists in the mind, and the mind can be trained. When you face it, the illusion fades. Ibr. When you run from it, the illusion grows. Ibrihi. Feeds on avoidance. Ibrihi. The more you avoid what you fear, the stronger it becomes. But when you step toward it, when you confront it, when you breathe through it, it begins to dissolve. Ibrashwiyu. You begin to see that fear is not real. Ibrash. It is imagination twisted against you. Ebrachia. It is energy waiting to be redirected. Abersri. Those who rise high have learned to transmute fear into motion. Ibridi. They do not wait for courage. They create it. Ibriki. They take the first step with trembling hands and uncertain hearts. Ibruk. And that step transforms them. Ibrur. Each time they move through fear, they steal its power, or each time they face what others avoid, they grow stronger. Ibrisi. The brave are not those without fear. Ibri, the brave, are those who walk forward despite it. Ibrikshi. They feel the shaking, the doubt, the pain, and still choose movement. Ibrike. That is how fear becomes power. Ibrisher, every great invention, every breakthrough began in fear. Ibrilla, the fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of loss. Ibrahir, but those who rise turn that fear into fire. Ibrahit. They allow it to sharpen their focus and fuel their persistence. Ibrike, fear is energy, and energy can be molded. Ibrukru, if you channel it into action, it becomes drive. Bibrchu. If you freeze before it, it becomes prison. Ibrchwam. That is why Napoleon Hill taught that the key to mastery is not avoiding fear, but commanding it. Ibr, the man who commands his fear, controls his destiny. Eberswat, he sees fear as a signal, not a stop sign. It tells him where the next level of growth is hidden. Ebroki. It tells him where comfort ends, evolution begins. Ebriki. When fear says, do not go there, he knows that is exactly where he must go. Abroki, because behind fear lies freedom. Ibrikir. Behind fear lies strength. Ibr. Behind fear lies everything you were born to become. Bershi. The world is full of those who never dared they let fear speak louder than purpose. Ibriki. They buried dreams under the weight of what if. Ibriki. They spent their lives safe and unfulfilled, but those who chose to face fear built empires from ashes. Ibr. They walked through the same storms ran from and discovered the calm on the other side. Ibriki. Fear cannot live in the same heart as faith. Ibriki. When faith rises, fear dies. Ibru. When purpose burns, bright darkness has no place to hide. Ibriki. The process of mastering fear begins within. Ibrfui. You must become aware of your inner dialogue. Ibrsi. You must hear the quiet voice that says you cannot and answer with, I already am. Ibrchi. You must replace the thought of failure with the vision of victory. Abrukri. You must train your mind to find strength in discomfort. Ibriki. Fear loses its control when you stop running from it. Ibrikya. It becomes the very fuel that lifts you higher every time you confront. Here you expand. Ibru. Every time you act, in spite of it, you rewrite your limits. Ibru. You begin to see yourself as unstoppable. Ibrki. You begin to understand that fear was never your enemy. It was your teacher. Ebrik. It existed to show you your power. Ebriki. It existed to challenge your will. Abriyi. To ask one question. Do you believe Ibruka? And when you say yes and move forward, the chains of fear shatter forever. Millionaires do not fear failure, they fear stagnation, ibrui. They fear living a life without purpose, ibrui. They fear dying without using their gifts, so they walk into the unknown again and again because they know the unknown is where greatness lives. Ibraha. They feel fear and still act. Ibraha. They fall and still rise. Ibrah, they lose and still try Ibrakapi because each encounter with fear makes them more aware and more alive. Ibraka. To transmute fear into power is to master life itself. Ibraka. It is to look at the darkness and find light within it. Abraki. It is to transform anxiety into action and hesitation into confidence. Ibraki. It is to become so centered, so focused, so devoted that fear becomes nothing more than energy, waiting for direction. Ibrah. The man who achieves this level of control cannot be stopped. Ibrahor, for he no longer runs from fear. Ibrah, he rides it. Straight into victory. Ibrika. Imagination is the workshop of the soul. Ibrika. It is the place where every dream, every invention, every success is born before it takes shape in the world. Ibrahim. Napoleon Hill called imagination the most powerful tool given to man. Abakiba. It is the bridge between the visible and the invisible. Ibrika. It is the power that allows you to see what does not yet exist and to call it into being. Ibrashi millionaires. Understand this sacred truth. Ibriki. They live in two worlds at once. Ibrihi. The world that is and the world that will be. Ibrihi. They are not trapped by reality because they know that reality is only the reflection of imagination made visible. Everything you see began in someone's mind first. Ibri. Every building, every machine, every discovery was once just a vision. Ibri. Someone closed their eyes and saw it before anyone else could. Ibri. That is the power that moves the world forward. Ibri. Most people use imagination to relive their fears. Ibri. They picture failure. Hibriki. They picture rejection. Ibri. They imagine loss. And the mind obeys. Ibraki. It builds that image into emotion and emotion into reality. Ibrui verua. The wise use imagination to design their destiny. Ibriki. They picture strength until they feel strong. Hibrakri. They picture victory until they move like winners. Hibraki. They picture abundance until opportunities surround them. Ibrah. Your imagination is a canvas and every thought is a brushstroke. Hibraha. Whatever image you paint long enough becomes the scene of your life. Ibraha. If you fill that canvas with fear, you will walk through darkness. Ibraha. If you fill it with faith, you will walk through light. Imagination is not fantasy. It is creation in progress. A virtue. It is the blueprint of the future being written in the present. Ibr. When you learn to control the pictures in your mind, you control the outcome of your days. Ibri. What you imagine in silence will one day be shouted in reality. Napoleon Hill taught that imagination is divided into two forms. Abri, the synthetic imagination, rearranges old ideas into new patterns, and the creative imagination, which connects you to the infinite intelligence of the universe. Abrukva. Through creative imagination come the great flashes of H.A. B, the sudden ideas that feel larger than thought itself. Ibrak B. They arrive when the mind is calm and the spirit is ready. Ibra. Millionaires train themselves to listen to those whispers. Ibrak. They act on inspiration without delay. Ibrasha. They treat their ideas like sacred gifts, knowing that each one can change their life forever. Ibrka. Imagination grows stronger with use. Iberwi. The more you visualize, the more vivid it becomes. Iberwhere. The more you believe in the picture, the faster it takes shape every night before sleep. The great dreamers see their success in detail. Ibri. They walk through the house. They will own Ibri. They feel the gratitude of the life they will live. Ibriki. They thank the universe in advance. Ibriki. And their subconscious mind begins to create paths to make it happen. This is not fantasy. It is the law of creation. Ibra. The mind cannot hold an image without moving toward it. Ibr. Every thought held long enough produces form. Ibri. Most people never use their imagination with purpose. Ibri. They allow the world to feed them images of fear and limitation. Ibri. They live in stories created by others, Ibrishi. But those who rise break that cycle, Kibri, choose their own vision, Ibriki. They decide what their mind will believe and what their heart will chase, Ibriki. They understand that. Imagination is not daydreaming. It is deliberate. Creation, Chiabro Krik. It is the rehearsal of the life they are building. Imagination gives birth to faith, and faith gives birth to action, Ibrihi, together. They form the unstoppable triad of creation, Ibrihi. First you see it, Ibrihi. Then you believe it, Ibrihi. Then you live it, Ibrike. Every time you visualize success with emotion, you impress that image on your subconscious, Ibrikwi, and the subconscious works relentlessly to bring it to pass, Ebrika. This is why you must guard your imagination like a treasure, Ibrika. It is the doorway to every miracle you will ever experience, Ibrikwi. Millionaires use imagination as their compass, Ibrikwi. They do not follow the path that exists. They create new ones, Ibr. They close their eyes and design their world before the world gives them permission. They see abundance when others see limitation, Ibrkit. They see opportunity where others see nothing, Ibrkya, because they know that what the mind can see, it can have Ibrokimation, gives them courage, Ibrokya. It gives them vision, Hebrew. It gives them peace, Ibrkya. It gives them purpose. When all else fails, the man who can imagine clearly holds power that no obstacle can. Defeat Ibrki. He can turn poverty into wealth, Ibriki. He can turn pain into art, Ibriki. He can turn nothing into everything, because imagination is infinite, Ibriya. It is the divine power within Mir's creation itself. Ibrik. It is the spark that turns thought. And when it is guided by purpose and faith, it becomes the source of all power. Hibardic decision is the doorway through which destiny enters. It is the dividing line between those who wish and those who achieve. Ibrahi. Napoleon Hill discovered that indecision is one of the greatest causes of failure. Hibraki. Most people drift through life waiting for signs, waiting for permission, waiting for the perfect moment that never arrives. Hibrahi. They ask, what if instead of declaring, I will Ibrahi, millionaires, do not wait Ibraki? They decide Abrahi. They decide quickly and clearly, and they stand by that decision with unshakable will because they know that every decision backed by belief creates movement, and every movement creates momentum. Abri, the world respects the man who decides Abri. It bends before certainty. Ibriki. Life itself is drawn to clarity. Ibriki. When you hesitate, the universe hesitates with you. Ibrihya, when you move with conviction, the universe begins to open doors that were invisible before. Abrahya, indecision kills dreams slowly. Abrahya, it drains energy, steals time, and feeds fear. But a single decision made in faith can rebuild a life that years of doubt destroyed. Ibrahya. Napoleon Hill wrote that successful men form the habit of making decisions fast and changing them slowly. If ever Ibriki failure does the opposite Ibriki. They decide slowly and change quickly. Ibri, they bend to the opinions of others. Ibriki, they live in the prison of what will people say, Ibriki. But the man who commands his destiny listens to one voice, only the voice of his purpose. Ibriki, he trusts his vision more than he fears judgment. He moves even when he cannot see the whole path, Abri, because he understands that direction is revealed through motion, not waiting. Ibrika. Decision is power because it cuts through confusion. Abraf. It ends hesitation and channels energy in one direction. Ibraki. When the mind decides, the body follows, and the subconscious begins to align every resource toward that goal. Abrika decision activates unseen forces. It is like striking a match in the dark. Ibrako, in that moment, energy gathers around intent. Abri, ideas appear, people arrive, opportunities form. Everything begins with one choice made with certainty. Ibrishi, the weak mind fears decision because decision carries responsibility. Ibrio, once you decide, you can no longer hide excuses. Iberswi, you can no longer blame fate or luck or others. Ibertri, the decision declares, I am the cause, not the victim. It demands courage. because it ends the comfort of waiting abr. That is why so few people master it. Ibraki, they prefer the illusion of maybe because maybe feels safe. Ibraki, but safety is an illusion. Ibraki, waiting kills more dreams than they ever could. Ibri. Millionaires live by a different law. Ibri, can you not let fear make their choices? Ibri, they let purpose guide them. Ibri, they decide not because they know they will succeed, but because they refuse to stand still. Ibri. Each decision refines their vision. Each choice teaches them something the undecided will never learn. Chabarisha, they know that even a wrong decision made with clarity can be corrected, but indecision cannot be redeemed because it creates nothing. Ibrak, decision builds confidence. Ibra. Every time you choose, you tell your mind, I trust myself. Ibrokri. That trust becomes strength. Ibroli. That strength becomes character, and character creed. You do not grow by thinking, you grow by deciding. Ibra, you do not evolve by planning forever. You evolve by acting now. Ibraka. The decision itself has energy. Ibraka. It shifts your vibration from fear to faith, from wish to command. Abaraki, Napoleon Hill observed that when a man finally decides what he truly wants, he becomes magnetic. Ibrahi. People feel it. Ibri. The world senses it. Ibrika, circumstances begin to align. Ibrika. It is as if the universe says at last he knows. Ibrika, and then everything starts to move in his favor. Siki, the decision becomes a signal to life that you are ready. Ibrika, build. The build, ready to endure, ready to receive. Ibrika, every leader, every innovator, every creator has lived by this truth. Ibrawi, they made decisions that others feared to make. Ibriki. They committed fully when the crowd hesitated. Ibriki. They said yes when everyone else said later. Ibrika. And that single moment of change their entire destiny. Ibrika decision is the act of taking authority over your life. Ibro. It is the declaration that your will is stronger than your fear. Ibrafer. It is the point where thought becomes command and command becomes creation. Ibriki. The man who learns to decide with faith becomes unstoppable. Ibriki. Because once he decides, he removes doubt. Ibrakwi. And when doubt is gone, nothing can stop motion. Ibrakwi. Decision transforms energy into direction, and direction into destiny. It is the unseen law that shapes every success story ever told. Ibrakik, faith, is the invisible power that turns thought into reality. Ibrakikyu, it is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. Ebraka. Napoleon Hill called faith the eternal elixir, the element that gives life power and action to the impulse of thought. Ibriki. Without faith, the mind is weak, and the heart uncertain. With faith, the impossible begins to move toward possibility. Ibrokri. It is not belief without evidence, it is belief before evidence. Ibriki. Faith is the voice that says it will happen, even when the world laughs at you. Ibrishi. It is the unseen energy that makes men stand tall in storms, that break others. Ibr, millionaires. Understand that faith is not a religious word, it is a mental weapon. Ibrki. It is the ability to see a result so clearly that it begins to shape the physical world. Abri, every invention. Every empire, every fortune began as an invisible picture inside someone's mind. Ibr. That picture lived and breathed because faith refused to let it die. Ibriki, faith feeds imagination, and imagination feeds creation. Brikri. It transforms thought into form through persistent conviction. Ibriki. Napoleon Hill said that faith is a state of mind that can be induced or created through affirmation and repetition of thought. Bruch, meaning you can build it, you can train it, you can grow it. Abriksha, when a man repeats a belief long enough, it becomes part of his subconscious. Abriki, and the subconscious does not question it, it acts upon it. Ibrik. That is why successful men speak words of power, not apribriyi. They understand that every word is a seed. Every affirmation plants a command in the soil of the mind. Ibrika. And the mind does not know the difference between real and imagined. Ibrika. It only knows what it is told. Repeatedly. Ibrika, faith is not luck, it is programming. It is the training of the inner voice until it becomes unbreakable. Fear and faith cannot exist in the same space. Ibraki, one must destroy the other. Ibraki, when you feed fear, faith starves. Ibraki, when you feed faith, fear disappears. Ibri, the mind can only serve one master, Abri. That is why millionaires guard their thoughts like Ibraki. They refuse to speak defeat. They refuse to think lack Ibraki because they know that thought is energy, and energy creates form, Ibr sway. Whatever dominates the mind becomes life. Faith, therefore, is not passive. It is active creation, Ibraka. It is the daily discipline of seeing victory before it arrives. Napoleon Hill wrote that faith mixed with desire is the starting point of all achievement. Ibraki, desire, gives direction. Faith gives force. Ibraki, desire, says I want. Faith says it will be done. Ibra. When those two unite, they create a vibration that moves through every level of existence. Iberwi. You begin to attract people, situations, and opportunities that match the frequency of your belief. Ibarwa, life mirrors the strength of your inner certainty. Ibarkro, if your faith is weak, your results will flicker. Ibra, if your faith is strong, the world will bend. Ebriki. Faith is not the absence of doubt, it is the decision to move in spite of doubt. Every great man felt fear, every great woman faced uncertainty. Ibriki, but faith made them walk anyway. Ibricha, they acted before they saw results. Ibriki. They spoke before proof appeared. Ibriki. They worked when logic said Fabriki. That action born of faith opened doors reason could not. Ibraki. Because faith taps into the unseen order of the universe, Ibraki connects you with the laws that operate beyond human understanding. It turns you into a magnet for the resources you need. Hibriya, the most powerful minds in history, have built their lives on invisible faith. Ibra, they did not wait for guarantees. Ibrasha, they created them. They spoke what they wanted as if it already existed. Ibrahi, they saw themselves already possessing the dream, and through that mental image, the dream began to shape reality. Napoleon Hill learned this truth by studying hundreds of self-made millionaires. Each of them used faith as their foundation. They trained their minds to believe before they received. Ibrahi, they understood that what you expect, you attract. Ibrahi, faith is a command to the subconscious mind. It is an instruction that says this must be, and the subconscious then begins to organize behavior, emotion, and energy to make it real. Ibraki. It is the reason why the same opportunities appear invisible to some and visible to others. Ibri, the man with faith, sees what the doubter cannot see. He sees openings where others see walls. Ibrihi. He sees abundance, he lack. Iberka. Faith changes perception, and perception creates reality. Ibraki. Even in the darkest times, faith whispers, keep walking. Ibraki, when everything collapses and nothing makes sense, faith still says there is a way. Ibraki, that whisper has carried men through wars, bankruptcies, losses, failures. Ibraki. It has rebuilt empires from ashes. It has lifted broken spirits and transformed ordinary people into legends. Ibraki. Faith is not fragile. It is fire. Ibrika. It burns through fear and lights the path forward. It teaches that power does not come from circumstance. It comes from certainty. Ibrika. When Napoleon Hill spoke of faith, he spoke of mastery over the inner world. Hibrokri. He said that when you master belief, you master destiny. Abra, because your outer life is a mirror of your inner conviction. Ibrikwayam. Faith is the law that connects mind and matter. It is the secret ingredient behind every miracle, every invention, every triumph. Abrasha. It turns invisible ideas into living outcomes. The man who builds faith within himself becomes unstoppable. Ibri, because he no longer waits for evidence to believe. Ibriki, he believes first and then watches the evidence appear. Ibriki. The mastermind principle is the hidden force that multiplies human power beyond imagination. Ibrahim Napoleon Hill discovered that no man ever reached lasting success alone. Ibrahim, behind every great fortune, there was a group of minds united by a single purpose, working together in perfect harmony. Ibrahim. The mastermind is not just teamwork. It is the blending of energies, the merging of thoughts and vibrations that create a power far greater than any single individual could summon. Ibraki, when two or more minds come together with perfect faith and harmony, a third invisible mind is created, one that possesses wisdom, creativity, and insight beyond the capacity of the individuals themselves. Every successful person you have ever heard of had a mastermind alliance. Ibrahim. Thomas Edison had his team of thinkers. Henry Ford surrounded himself with people who could challenge and refine his ideas. Andrew Carnegie said that his entire fortune could be traced to his mastermind group of trusted men who shared his vision. This is the unseen formula that turns ordinary talent into extraordinary achievement. It is the power of multiplied intelligence where one idea sparks another, and that second idea ignites 10 more until the impossible becomes possible. Ibrahim. A single mind is limited by its perspective, its fears, and its blind spots. Ibrahim. But when minds unite around a common goal, they expand each other's vision and destroy limitation. They generate creative energy through harmony. That harmony is not casual agreement. It is alignment of purpose, emotion, and thought. Each person in the mastermind contributes something unique and receives something greater in return. They inspire one another to higher performance. They keep each other accountable when motivation fades. They become mirrors of each other's greatness until confidence becomes unshakable. Napoleon Hill saw that power in the human mind increases when it is connected to others of similar vibration. When people share belief and enthusiasm, their brainwaves begin to synchronize, creating what he called a third mind, a brookie. This is not metaphorical. It is real mental energy. It is the invisible current that flows through all forms of collective genius, a brookie. It explains why inventions, discoveries, and movements often appear when groups of passionate people come together. The mastermind is the magnetic field of human success. The difference between the successful and the unsuccessful is that the unsuccessful try to do everything alone. Carry the burden of their dream by themselves. They fear sharing ideas or asking for help because they think help makes them weak. But millionaires understand that the right alliance multiplies time, resources, and creativity. They build networks of power based on trust and respect. They understand that one conversation can open a door that years of solitary effort could never unlock. They use the minds of others as bridges to reach heights impossible alone. The mastermind principle also demands purity of intention. It cannot exist in the presence of jealousy, ego, or deceit. It thrives only in harmony. Because harmony is the frequency through which creative energy flows. One negative mind can poison the entire alliance. That is why those who seek greatness must be selective about whom they surround themselves with. They protect their circle like treasure, because they know that the wrong influence can steal years of progress. But when the right people come together, the results defy logic. Progress accelerates. Ideas flourish. And power multiplies. Napoleon Hill wrote that when two minds work together in harmony, they create a third mind that draws upon the universal reservoir of infinite intelligence. This third mind produces flashes of inspiration, insights, solutions that the individuals could never have reached alone. It is as if the universe itself begins to think through them. Every great invention that changed the world was born from this higher connection. When minds align in purpose, they become channels of creation for something greater than themselves. The mastermind is not limited to business. It applies to every area of life. In relationships, it builds unbreakable bonds. In families, it creates unity and vision. In leadership, it inspires loyalty and collective strength. It teaches that true power is not domination, it is collaboration. The one who understands this principle never competes. He cooperates He does not fight for control. He aligns for creation. He becomes a magnet for people who share his vision, and together they become an unstoppable force. Ibrohi, the lonely genius, is a myth. Ibro, every true genius stands on the shoulders of other minds who believed in the same dream. Aki, when energy combines in harmony, it creates momentum, and momentum creates miracles. Ibrisha, a mastermind alliance amplifies. Emotion multiplies thought and directs it toward a single objective. Ibricha, it becomes the living engine that drives ideas into reality. Ibriq. When you join forces with others who think like you, who burn for the same vision, your mind expands. Ibriya. You begin to think on a higher level. Ibra. You begin to access ideas divinely inspired. Ibrokri millionaires. Know that the master mind is a law of nature, just as gravity is a law of physics. Ibri, when energy harmonizes, it expands. Ibrihi, when thoughts combine, they amplify. Ibrur, when faith joins, faith mountains move. Ibrukri, that is why they invest time and energy in building connections with people who uplift them, challenge them, and believe in them. Iburs. They understand that one good alliance can achieve what decades of isolation cannot. Abrahi. The power of the mastermind is the secret weapon behind every empire, every invention, and every revolution that shaped the world. Ibrga. To create that power, you must give as much as you receive. Ibrahi. You must bring energy, ideas, loyalty, and belief to the group. Abri. The mastermind is not built through selfishness. It is built through contribution. Babri. Each member becomes a pillar for the other. Ibroka, and together they build a structure that cannot fall. Iabroa. Napoleon Hill taught that when you link your mind with others in a spirit of harmony, you touch the edge of infinite intelligence. You begin to think with power that is not entirely your own. Ibra. You become a channel through which the universe expresses its greatest ideas. Ibrai. The world changes when minds unite under purpose. Ibrafa. That unity creates the invisible fire that fuels progress, innovation, and wealth. Ibri, the mastermind principle, is proof that success is not solitary. It is a collective vibration of belief and purpose that shapes reality itself. Barker, though, those who understand this law hold the real secret of creation because they no longer work alone. Ibarque. They work with the combined energy of minds connected to infinite intelligence. Ibershi. The subconscious mind is the silent power that shapes every experience, every success, and every failure you have ever known. Abraham Napoleon Hill called it the connecting link between the finite mind of man and the infinite intelligence of the universe. Abruka. It is always awake, always recording, always obeying. Ibriki. It does not sleep. It does not judge. It does not reason. Ibriki. It only accepts what it is fed with emotion and repetition, and then it turns those thoughts into reality. Ibriki. Your entire life is the mirror of what has been impressed upon your subconscious mind. Ibrofur. Every victory, every limitation, every repeated pattern is born from this invisible engine that never rests. Ibriki millionaires understand that the subconscious mind is their most faithful servant. Ibruwi. They program it daily with thoughts of power, abundance, and achievement until those ideas become beliefs. Iberq. And once belief is planted, the subconscious begins to work day and night to make it true. Ibershes. It moves unseen to attract people, circumstances, and opportunities that match the frequency of that belief. It creates coincidences that others call luck. Ibrikia. It guides intuition, whispers ideas, and warns against danger. Hebriki. It is the inner compass that leads a man toward the things he truly believes in his heart. Ibra Napoleon Hill said that the subconscious mind is the medium through which prayer is transmitted to the source of infinite intelligence. Ibri, meaning that every desire, every dream, every word charged with emotion travels through it into the higher realm of creation. Ibri, when your conscious mind says, I want success, but your subconscious mind says, I do not deserve it. The subconscious wins every time. Ibriq, because it is older, deeper, and infinitely more powerful. Ibriq. That is why many people work hard yet remain stuck. Ibri. Their outer actions fight against their inner programming. Ibri, they are trying to plant roses on soil that believes. Only weeds can grow Ibri. The subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined. Ibri. This is the secret that millionaires and visionaries use Ibri. They build mental movies of success. They repeat affirmations they visualize with emotion. Ibri. They do it not because it is fantasy, but because they understand the law. Whatever image the subconscious accepts as true begins to express itself in the outer world. Thoughts charged with emotion become things the subconscious does not care whether the thought is positive or negative. It only obeys repetition and feeling. Ibri. That is why fear often creates the very things dread. Ibri, because fear is belief in reverse. It is faith in failure. Ibri. The key is control. Ibri. If you do not control your subconscious mind, well, Ibri. The world constantly feeds it images of limitation, poverty, and fear. Ibri. Every advertisement, every headline, every complaint around you is programming your mind. If you do not filter it, your subconscious will accept it and make it part of your life. Our millionaires protect their minds like sacred. Ground Ibri. They choose what to read, what to hear, what to watch. Ibri. They feed the mind only ideas, serve their vision. Ibri. Because they know the subconscious is the fertile soil of destiny. Ibri. Napoleon Hill wrote that the subconscious mind works with the emotion of faith or fear and will translate either into physical reality, Ibri, meaning that emotion is the language of the subconscious. The stronger the emotion, the faster the manifestation. Ibri. That is why passion and belief accelerate success, while worry and doubt slow it down. Ibri. The subconscious is not logical, it is emotionally key. It responds to what you feel, not what you say. Ibri. If you say, I am successful, but you feel unworthy, it listens to the feeling, not the words. Ibri. To change your life, you must change your emotional vibration until success feels natural. Ibri. When a man learns to reprogram his subconscious, he becomes the master of his destiny. Ibri. He can erase old beliefs of failure and plant new beliefs of victory. Apri. He can take control of his habits, his reactions, and even his health. Barhi. Because the subconscious controls not only thoughts, but also bodily. Functions. Ibri. It governs heartbeat, breathing, immune response, and energy. Ibri. When filled with peace and gratitude, it heals. Ibri. When filled with anxiety, it destroys. Ibri. The mind and body are one field, and the subconscious is the bridge. Visualization is one of the most powerful tools to communicate with the subconscious mind. Abrihi. Napoleon Hill taught that you must see the thing you want as if you already possess it. Abrihi. You must hold that image with faith and emotion until it becomes part of your inner reality. Ibri. The subconscious will then find a way to make it visible in the outer world. This is not magic, it is law. Ibri. The mind moves toward the picture it holds most vividly. Ibri. If that picture is fear, it will attract failure. Ibri. If that picture is faith, it will attract triumph. The subconscious mind never stops working. Ibri. It solves problems while you sleep. Ibri. It sends intuitive nudges during the day. Ibri. It leads you toward people who can help you fulfill your dream. Ibri. It is the unseen assistant that the universe placed inside you. Ibri. But it can only obey what it understands clearly. Ibrika. Vague goals produce vague results. Ibri. Clear. And emotionally charged goals awaken the subconscious with power. Ibri. Millionaires program their subconscious every morning and every night. Ibri. They write their affirmations. They speak them aloud. They visualize the results. Ibri. They do it with emotion because repetition without feeling is powerless. Ibri. They fill their minds with gratitude because gratitude tunes the subconscious to abundance. Ibri. They refuse to think or speak words of limitation because every word is an instruction to this hidden mind. Ibri. The subconscious does not argue, it obeys. Ibri. Napoleon Hill said that man's only limitation lies in the development and use of his subconscious mind, Abruk, meaning that power, wealth, creativity, and peace are all already within Ibrchi, but they remain asleep until awakened by purpose and belief, Ibrchi. When you fill your subconscious with faith in your dream, the world you begins to rearrange, Ibrchike. Opportunities appear at the right moment, Ibrchi people. Enter your life in perfect timing, Ibrchi. You experience what others call luck, but it is not luck, it is law. Ibrchi, the law of the mind that says what is impressed must be expressed. Ibrchi, the subconscious mind is your silent partner in creation. Abracha. It listens to your every thought and emotion, and then it molds your reality accordingly. It does not care who you are or where you come from. Ibracha. It only responds to what you believe and repeat. Ibracha. That is why Napoleon Hill declared that you become what you think about most of the time, Ibrachu, because your dominant thoughts shape your dominant reality. Ibarsui. The subconscious is not your enemy. It is your greatest servant, Iberhi. Train it, feed it, command it, and it will bring you everything you dare to imagine.